What's going on, everyone? We continue to get headlines about the Lakers and Christian Wood and how the Lakers have Christian Wood as their priority. Makes a lot of sense. The Lakers have not made any moves and they still have that open roster spot. And it is believed that it's because Christian Wood is the guy. The Lakers are waiting around and they're waiting patiently to see what is Christian Wood going to do. Is he going to go somewhere else? Is somebody going to offer more money? Or is he going to take the vet minimum to the Lakers? Lots of reports about, hey, if he can't get more than a vet minimum elsewhere, then he's coming to the Lakers. And the Lakers are willing to wait. We got reports from Dan Woke, who he basically said, hey, Lakers are Christian Wood is the Lakers' number one priority. And now you have Mark Stein kind of reiterating that. Now, some of this is probably just there's not really much Laker news and they're trying to get out headlines, and Christian Wood is somebody that will attract headlines, but it is news, and nonetheless, let's talk about it. So the Los Angeles Lakers have maintained a level of interest in signing free agent big man Christian Wood, according to NBA reporter Mark Stein, though they are only capable of offering him a league minimum contract. Again, nothing new. If Wood is disinclined from accepting such a deal, there is another route. Stein added that Dallas remains open to facilitating a sign and trade for Wood if the Mavericks can acquire a player they like in exchange, but neither the Lakers nor the Miami Heat, who is another big option for Christian Wood, are considered potential sign and trade destinations. Look, the Lakers are not going to sign and trade for Christian Wood. They're not going to trade. If Christian Wood wants to come to the Lakers for the vet minimum, the Lakers will gladly take him, right? Because the Lakers believe that they can make it work with Wood. And look, if the Lakers can make it work with Wood, the Lakers are probably the best team in the league because you're adding to an already really good deep roster another 17-7 guy. Now, he's not without his flaws, obviously. He defensively, although he has the shot blocks, he's been a pretty good rim protector. And that's something that I imagine can improve. Defensively as a whole, he has not been great. Now, he has had stints where he was, right? He had that year in Detroit where he was actually really good defensively. But it's just him being locked in and focused on the defensive end. He seems to kind of be disinterested at times. And, I mean, he kind of seems to be disinterested at times, period, when he's on the court. And that's a real concern. Not just that, but just his character issues, right? Him being an issue in the locker room, him causing tantrums and stuff. Obviously, with the Houston Rockets, they ended up suspending him for, what was it, like a handful of games, something like that, 3 to 5 games, something like that for, conduct, conduct detrimental to the team or whatever, because he was throwing a tantrum with, who was it? It was, it was another one of the young players for the Houston Rockets. They suspended a couple of them for just being character issues, right? And Christian Wood has kind of had that stigma everywhere he's gone. But if he can come in, really lock in, really focus, and really prove himself, he has the potential to have a huge impact for the Lakers. Talking about a guy that can be a legit 3-level scorer as a big man, as somebody that is 6'10", right? And do it efficiently and effectively. His skill set is not the question. Like, every team in the league would love to have a guy like Christian Wood. The problem is that teams don't want to risk blowing up their locker room because you brought in a guy like Christian Wood. But the Lakers look at it as like, hey, we have the culture, we have a head coach that is a real player coach and that just has the ability to get people to buy in and believe. Look at what he did with Russell Westbrook. You have LeBron James, who he's gotten it to work with everybody. Anybody that's been a character issue, right? Now, I know some people link Russell Westbrook. I've even seen a bunch of comments of people that are like, well, what about Russell Westbrook, right? Like, Russell Westbrook didn't work, and that's a completely different scenario. Russell Westbrook's issue wasn't character or locker room issue. His issue was fit, right? He just didn't make sense fit-wise. Christian Wood, that's not a question. There's no issue of where is he going to fit, right? You could slot him at the 4, you could play him at the 5, play him alongside Anthony Davis, you could play him alongside LeBron James, you could play him alongside Jackson Hayes. Like, there's no question about Christian Wood's fit with the Lakers. The question is, can he come in, play the role that we need him to play, and not cause a fuss, not be a headache, right? Like, the Lakers and the Heat are the two best destinations for him. He could go to another team, maybe get a little more money, But he needs some stability, and he needs a real strong structure and culture. He needs influence around him, right? Because he keeps popping around to all these places. If he does go Lakers, it'd be his eighth team in 8 years or whatever. Like, that's not good, right? And we've seen guys very talented out of the league because they can't get their stuff together. And he runs the risk of being one of those players. I mean, the guy went undrafted, right? Like, teams were okay not taking him. And now he's came and he's been able to fight and claw. And I get that part of the character issues are probably why he's been so successful, right? And just building that career, having that chip on his shoulder, and just wanting to win. And winning cures everything, right? Like, if you look at all the destinations he's been at, he hasn't really been in winning situations, right? Even like where he got his start and got his contract was the Houston Rockets. And, Houston, they just started falling apart. James Harden leaves and it just becomes a mess. And then it's just the coaching and all. It became a disaster for him. And then he goes to Dallas and he was their second best player and couldn't see the court. And people say, like, I've seen people throw out, well, he wasn't good defensively. Nobody on Dallas was good defensively. It wasn't like they were like some good elite defensive team. No, but he was still their second best player until Kyrie got there. And for whatever reason, Christian Wood and Jason Kidd just didn't see eye to eye. Jason Kidd just wouldn't play him. And that was part of the issue. And they didn't even make the play-in, right? Like, so how bad could Christian Wood? It's not Christian Wood's fault they didn't make the play-in. Right? So it's like he hasn't been in a good culture, good winning environment, right? And I think that could go a long way. And I do think him going to the Lakers, he would get both of those. The Lakers are going to be one of the better teams in the league this year and one of the better teams in the Western Conference. He's probably going to get a lot of opportunity because, LeBron James and Anthony Davis are probably going to miss 50, 60 games collectively, like together. So when LeBron's out, he gets to be the starting five, or he may even just be the starter, period, right? Like the Lakers are already talking about having Jackson Hayes, but like if AD's out, him and Hayes probably start. If LeBron's out, him and AD, and it's just, he's not going to have a problem, I don't think, seeing the court and getting minutes, right? And I do think he could have a real big impact for the Lakers. But he has to be willing to come in and sacrifice. He has to be willing to understand, like, the goal is championship, right? You've been on these bad teams. You've been in these, cruddy situations. You haven't helped yourself, right? Like, I'm not trying to give Christian Wood excuses and completely stick up for him, right? But we've seen plenty of players throughout the history of the league just not be in the right fit, not be in the right situation, and then end up going to the right place, and then they find that home, right? Like, and not because of character issues or anything like that, but like, look at like Andrew Wiggins, right? Andrew Wiggins was considered, he was gonna be the guy. He was a franchise guy. He was this, that, and the other, and just didn't have the success, goes to the Warriors, and it was a seamless, perfect fit. And he was able to win a championship, right? Like, sometimes you just find the right situation in the right environment and you can thrive and you can really kind of come into your own. And I think that that's what Christian Wood needs. But he has to do himself some favors, right? He has to be willing to, hey, man, like, tonight, you're taking the night off. All right, no problem, coach. Hey, tonight you're playing 15 minutes. All right, no problem, coach, right? He has to prove that he can be that guy. Right? He needs to prove that he can be a veteran player, which is what he is at this point, and really kind of establish himself. Otherwise, he's going to be chasing vet minimum contracts for however long until teams get sick of him. And who knows? Maybe he doesn't. It's not like teams are lining up at the door right now for him, right? Like, it's not like he has a bunch of vet minimum contract offers even right now. The only teams that have really been reported to be interested in Christian Wood at even a vet minimum contract are the Heat and the Lakers. Like, those are the two main teams that have been reported. The Lakers more so than anybody, but Miami. But I think Miami's looking at it as he's talented and we have the culture and stability to get him right. Like, that's why Miami and the Lakers make sense. If he doesn't go to the Lakers, he needs to go to Miami. He really does. Because he needs to get to a platform where he can kind of change the narrative. And he can change the stigma that is kind of clouded him. Right? And the only way he's going to be able to do that is to go to a place like Miami, where if Miami has success and he's a part of that, and that culture and everything, and he's buying in, and there's not really conversation about him coming out, well, then now he can thrive, and that narrative can start changing. Or go to a place like the Lakers, where the spotlight is so bright, and basically everything you do is under a microscope, and if you can be a key contributor to the Lakers, then you're going to get that recognition. You're going to get that, that stigma removed. And there's going to be teams that are going to offer you that opportunity. It might even be the Lakers. And look, if he comes and the Lakers win the championship, then he's going to be forever cemented, and Lakers Nation is going to love him, and he's going to be embraced like he's never been embraced before. And you can start changing that narrative. But he's really got to be willing to do that. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Think Lakers are right for making him a priority? Do you think they're not? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are.